Friends, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're viewing this devotional. My name is Ethan Gregory, and I'm one of the pastors here at First Church. You know, it never fails now throughout the last year, since last summer when we started coming back to in-person worship on Sunday mornings. I'll meet somebody in the receiving line after worship or in the sanctuary as people are gathering and taking their seats preparing for worship. They introduce themselves and I say, "Hello, my name's Ethan." And they say, "We know. We've seen you online or in videos at some point over the last 2 years." What an interesting time, to say the least, that we've all been experiencing in this pandemic life that doesn't seem to quite go away. But one thing we've learned throughout this season is that we need each other. We need connection. We need presence with other people. I remember moving to Portland in summer of 2020. It was funny, you all knew that I was coming from Texas, so I got a brief tour of the church on my first day in the city. My parents were still here, and Reverend Donna and Paul Nickel, our SPRC chair, gave us a quick tour, handed me my key, and said, "Now go home. We don't want to see you for a couple of weeks. We need to make sure that you quarantine and are safe." We can laugh about it now, but we know that for that first year of ministry together, we were seeing each other online, on Zoom, by phone call, but not in person. We've all had experiences like this. We've all had lives lived in somewhat of a connection, but missing that in-personness of being with other people. There's something about it that's important for us simply as human beings, and also important for us as the church, because we know that we don't follow Jesus in a vacuum. We do the work of our God, the work of love and justice, of pursuing hope, of living in joy and in peace with one another. We do that together. We need each other. The early church knew this. On that day of Pentecost and in the days after, the book of Acts reminds us of this towards the end of chapter 2. The believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to the community, to their shared meals, and to their prayers. A sense of awe came over everyone. God performed many wonders and signs through the apostles. All the believers were united and shared everything. They would sell pieces of property and possessions and distribute the proceeds to everyone who needed them. Every day they met together in the temple and ate in their homes. They shared food with gladness and simplicity. They praised God and demonstrated God's goodness to everyone. The Lord added daily to the community those who were being saved. Friends, last week we mentioned that Rally Day is on the horizon. It's the day in the tradition of this congregation where we all sort of rally back to church. We know that even in non-pandemic times, we can get out of the habit of coming to worship, of attending small groups or studies, because we're on vacation. We're enjoying the nice sunny weather before the clouds and the drizzle set back in the fall. But this year it has an even more important meaning in our life together as the church. We now know how to gather safely. We know the appropriate times to wear masks. We know that we can set some chairs up outside and be appropriately distanced from one another if we need to. And that software Zoom is still around. We can connect virtually whenever we need to. Friends, I would argue that in this season, we need to reconnect. We need to be in community with one another. Not simply just coming to worship, although that is a great thing. I love worship as well. But we need to be with each other throughout the week, in the afternoons, in the evenings, whenever we have the time. It's a community that we have here. It's not just a performance that we're attending where we get to hear the choir and organ and you hear people like me and Karen and Andy offer some inspiring words. No, we come to worship so that we can be fed, so that we can engage and make relationships with our neighbors, with the people we work with the people in our neighborhood, and with each other. And so this Rally Sunday, coming up September 11th, just a few weeks from now, is a rallying back not just to church, but it's rallying back to being together. And so I invite you to make those plans. Invite those people who you've maybe only seen online in the last 2 years, or if you're already attending worship regularly, reach out to someone that you miss, whose spot next to you still sits empty. Who are the people who have been watching me and others of us on Sunday morning diligently for the last 2 years, but who need some connection? Let's connect. And so friends, I'll see you this Sunday in worship, but I also hope to see you on Sunday, September 11th. Go in peace. Have a great week.